How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a good day because today I have a story of betrayal. Today I have a story that is probably the biggest emotional roller coaster I will ever take you on with any of my stories ever. This is probably one of the best and the most interesting, and at the end, one of the saddest and most unfortunate stories I have ever told. So I suggest that, you find somewhere comfortable, maybe turn on a video game or start doing some artwork or something, or do something, because this is going to be quite the experience. Subscribe if you're new, and let's call the subscriber who submitted the story Kevin. So Kevin was dating this girl, Sarah. Sarah and Kevin had been dating for 4 years. At the time of this story, Kevin was a senior in high school. They started dating at the very end of 8th grade. Back then, Kevin and Sarah were very different people. Kevin and Sarah were, they were both very young. They were, very happy. They were full of life and all of that good stuff. And Kevin had more or less changed for the better, I would say. He described himself as becoming kind of more responsible, a bit more confident, a bit less juvenile. However, he still kind of said that he tried to keep his fun side. He tried to keep that good side of him. However, over those 4 years, Kevin saw a change in his girlfriend, Sarah, a change for the worst, unfortunately. Sarah kind of, developed the mean girl's personality. Sarah didn't really care about any of that stuff when they first met in 8th grade. But over the years of high school, Sarah found a clique of girls, and those clique of girls kind of, built her down in a sense, and she built them down. And they definitely didn't build her up, or I guess tear her down. You didn't build her down, but essentially, right, Kevin noticed that over time, Sarah became more and more caught up in, drama and stuff that was really just unnecessary and petty, and that Sarah would, start to talk more and more, harshly about her friends, the people that Kevin thought, that Kevin saw her hang out with all the time, and really just kind of become more cruel and mean. That's something that just happens sometimes in high school. High school is a tough time, and, sometimes, people fall for the allure of being popular at the expense of their soul, in a sense. And that's a bit of an exaggeration because, dude, it's high school. After high school, a lot of people become chill again. But, Kevin was starting to feel, a little strain in their relationship. Sarah would, they would get into more fights and arguments. However, Sarah, which Kevin assumed was just to make sure that she saved face with, kind of her popularity and status, because Kevin was a somewhat popular football guy in the grade, that Sarah would refuse for them to ever break up. And Kevin never made an actual, attempt to break up. He kind of just assumed that before they went off to college, that they would be all set. Not that they'd be all set, but they would mutually agree to go to different places because they were not planning on going to the same college. And so Kevin was like, you know what, I'm not going to break up yet. This is fine. I still enjoy spending time with her, etc. like that. This whole story, that was a bit of backstory. This whole story starts one Friday night. So anyways, Kevin gets back home from school. He just finished up, a lot of his college apps. He's feeling good because this is fall of his senior year. And he just finished up a lot of his applications out to college. A few more to go, but he's feeling good. And he's ready to really just, have a lot of rest and relaxation. And he gets a text message from one of his friends. And we'll just call the friend Ben. And his friend Ben is like, bro, my parents are out for the week. I got the house to myself. I'm having a pretty crazy rager over at my house tonight. Party starts at 9, goes till when the last person leaves. I'd love for you to show up. And, Kevin responds, yeah, dude, of course, love to go. Yeah, that sounds great. And, Kevin, he's a little excited. He's going to be able to see his friends again. I mean, he's seen his friends, but, see them in a less formal, setting, like school or something like that. So Kevin gets all ready and, he gets his stuff together and, he gets in his car and he drives over to the party and he gets there around 9:30, 9:45. And, he's greeted at the door by Ben, his friend. And Ben's like, dude, Kevin, so excited for you to make it. This is great. Welcome, come on in. He's like, oh, yeah, your girlfriend Sarah's here, too. And he's like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, she kind of just showed up. And that was a little weird to Kevin because Kevin sent her a text, yo, you going to Ben's party? And she said, no. So, Kevin goes in there, starts talking to people, and sees Sarah, and goes up to her. And he's like, hey, like, I didn't think you were coming. And she's like, well, I'm allowed to change my mind. Am I not? And Kevin's like, yeah, like, of course you're allowed to change your mind. Like, of course. I just thought you would tell me because, like, it's kind of implied that I was coming. And she's like, yeah, well, I decided to come, and here we are, so might as well enjoy it. And Kevin's like, all right, yeah, that's fine. I'm enjoying myself. And then, Kevin and Sarah were kind of standing there. And it was, by the way, this was a very big house. That is an important detail. This kid had like pretty loaded parents. So they had a pretty big, crazy house, like a backyard with a pool and all that stuff. And, Kevin and Sarah were kind of standing there, and Sarah's like, can you go, like, talk to your friends or something? I want to, like, walk around and talk to people. Kevin's like, well, I mean, I could walk around with you. And Sarah's like, you know how that never works with my friends. You know how us never works, like, in a group, like my friends and you. It just doesn't mix that well. You have plenty of friends here. Why don't you go off and talk to them? Kevin was a little bit like, okay, whatever, like, fine. So Kevin's like, all right, well, that's fine. If you didn't want me here in the first place, you should have told me. And Sarah's like, that's not what I said. I just said I wanted to hang out with my friends. Is that so terrible? Is that so bad of me? And Kevin's like, stop overreacting. It's whatever. Fine, I'll go. That makes you happy. And she's like, well, it does, because I like seeing my friends. So Kevin goes over and he talks to some of his guys, and, he's like, yeah, so this is how's it going, everyone? How are college apps, all that kind of stuff. And they were like, dude, it's crazy. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't know why it's so hard. I don't know. Stuff like that. And, that's when Kevin sees his older brother, older by 6 months, right? Mike walk in as well. So Mike is the older brother. However, since there's only like a 6-7 month differential, they're in the same grade. They just don't share a lot of classes. So Mike walks in. Kevin's like, hey, what's good, Mike? And Mike's like, hey, Kevin, didn't know you'd be coming here tonight. He's like, yep, no, I'm here. So Mike walks in, and Mike kind of has a different friend group. Kevin and Mike are like, they're close, and they're cool enough at the home, right? But they just hang out with different people. But they are brothers, right? They are biological brothers. They have that kind of instinct with each other. Like, yeah, they're brothers. Just that's an important detail for later on. Maybe you figured out a few context clues from the thumbnail of this video. But anyways, right? So, Mike goes in and just disappears into the party, and more people start like showing up. They start piling in. The party starts getting denser. There's like a lot of people in every single room. And that's when, like, Kevin, goes to the bathroom, and that's, when he's done in the bathroom, he opens it up, and his friend Ben is at the door. He's like, dude. And Kevin's like, what? He's like, dude, like, I don't know. There's, like, something really weird going on. And Kevin's like, bro, like, what's going on? Because at first Kevin thought, like, oh, maybe someone brought something they shouldn't have here, or maybe there's, like, a fight breaking out or something that, since he's kind of a bigger guy, he'd be able to help and go handle. And he goes up, he's like, dude, what is it? I'll help. And, Ben's like, bro, this is kind of weird. Like, I don't want you to get the wrong message from this. Like, I'm just looking out for you. He's like, are you, Mike, your brother and your girlfriend, are they like close or something? And Kevin's like, I mean, not really. I mean, she's come over to my house like twice, and they've talked a little bit, but... And Ben's like, well, I don't know. They're just talking a lot right now. It's kind of weird. Like, it's just a little weird. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. And Kevin's like, well, I appreciate you looking out for me. But look, that's my brother. That's my girlfriend. They probably are just talking about me or something, like talking about how I'm such like an idiot or some kind of conversation like that. I mean, that's pretty standard affair. I appreciate you coming over and like making sure everything was okay, though. Like, you're a good host, Ben. Go back and have fun. And Ben's like, okay, sure. Your wish is my command. I'll go back and have fun. So Kevin doesn't really think anything of that at all. And he goes back around and he's talking to his friends. And, life is good for about another hour. And that's when Ben comes up to him again. And it looks like Ben saw a freaking ghost. Like, his face is all white and freaked out. And Kevin's like, bro, what happened? And Ben's like, dude. And Kevin's like, bro, spit it out. Just tell me, like, what do you need help with? And Kevin's like, or Ben's like, and Kevin's like, dude, come on, like, you're starting to worry me. And Ben turns to one of, like, the friends next to Kevin. He's like, can I talk to you for a second? And, Kevin turns to his friend. He's like, dude, what? And his friend's like, dude, I'll figure out what's going on with Ben. I'll be right back. So Ben takes Kevin's friend aside, and he's, like, whispering to him. And Kevin's friend, who he's talking to, his, like, mouth is, like, just drops. And Kevin's like, bro, spit it out. Tell me, why do you need to go around telling other, like, this is, so Ben and the friend come back, and the friend's like, ooh. And Kevin's like, bro, spit it out. Is it really that hard? Just tell me what's good. And, the friend is like, okay. So what Ben thinks he saw, and then Ben, like, speaks up. He's like, fine, like, this is weird, but I don't know. I just wanted to, I just need to talk to someone about this. And Kevin's like, what? He's like, I don't know. There's a rumor that, your girlfriend was going around making out with this guy. And Kevin's like, what? And Ben's like, dude, and the rumor is it was Mike, your brother. And Kevin then starts laughing. He's like, all right, man, I don't know who's, like, peddling these rumors, but that's comical. That's freaking comical. Look, I know my brother. If I have a girl, like, we got a bro code, right? If we're in a relationship, they're not going to sneak in. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like, we have a home together. We need to share a house for at least the next year till we go off to college. He's not going to want that, like, terrible energy. He's not going to want to disrupt the family just for, like, a peck on the cheek. No, that's ridiculous. And, like, Ben is like, dude, I don't know. There wasn't one person who told me that. Like, it was multiple people. Like, the first person that told me, I was kind of like, okay, whatever. But then more people started telling me that there's, like, a video going around too, and that I don't even know. And Kevin's like, all right, well, I appreciate you, like, coming here and, like, tell me about this rumor. I will figure it out, and I will, stomp the rumor out. It's not true. I can tell you that. I'm just going to go find Sarah or Mike and talk to them, and they're going to find it ridiculous. So Kevin, starts walking around. He starts checking from room to room. He goes in the backyard, the pool area. There's a ton of people out there just having a good time. He looks around, and for the life of him, he can't find Sarah or Mike. He goes upstairs, starts looking through, and while he, isn't supposed to be going through, like, the bedrooms or whatever, sometimes you got to check that, hey, man, people do people things. Checking the bedrooms, nothing's in there. He's like, wow, like, did these, like, where are they? So he sends a text to Mike. He's like, yo, where you at? And Mike responds almost right away, home. And Kevin's like, dude, it's like 11:30. Why do you leave early? He's like, just did. And he's like, okay. And he sends a text to Sarah saying, hey. And Sarah doesn't respond. And after like 5 minutes, Kevin calls Sarah and it rings out and she doesn't respond. And he's like, what? Like, this is really weird. So Kevin, like, goes back downstairs. He finds Ben, the host of the party. He's like, dude, I don't think Kevin or Mike are here. And Ben's like, bro, I hate to be the guy, but, like, I'm hearing more and more. Apparently there's, like, a video going around. I don't know. And Kevin's like, bro, okay, look, it didn't happen. I guess I can, like, tell you a bit. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but it just didn't happen. Like, I know my brother. I know my girlfriend, like, she can be a little shady sometimes, but the two of them, I know them both well enough that did not happen. Whatever video was probably some girl that looked like my girlfriend and someone who looked like my brother. Look, my girlfriend has blonde hair. My brother has brown hair. You have two faces into each other. You just see blonde hair and brown hair. People are going to come up with things, right? She's a popular girl in the school. I'm a guy on the football team. That would be scandalous. Of course they'd want to make that something, right? It's definitely not. I appreciate you coming to me, but, I don't know. Maybe I should just go home. I mean, Mike is back home. I'm just going to go talk to him there. I'm going to tell him about this ridiculous rumor. We'll probably have a few laughs over it, maybe play a few rounds of COD or something, and just call it a night. Like, you're having a great party. I don't want to kill the vibe. I think I'm just going to leave. And Ben's like, all right, man, well, if anything actually happens, like, I'll be sure to hit you up. I'll be sure that you're the first one that I would tell. I agree with you. This seems pretty unlikely, but I've just been told by so many people. It's just really weird, man. Kevin's like, and once again, I appreciate that, right? Have a good party. Keep being a host. Thanks for having me over. I'm going to go back home. So Kevin gets in his car, and he just has a weird vibe. Because, I mean, yes, he doesn't believe that it's even possible that his girlfriend or his brother would do anything like this at all. But he's just kind of like, I don't know. So many people start saying stuff. He's like, you think you know people, but you never really know. But Kevin's like, no, this is ridiculous. Like, first of all, if there's a video, why didn't Ben get it? If everyone says that there's a video, why didn't anyone show Ben? Because if Ben saw the video, he would have told me. So this is ridiculous. So Kevin drives back home, pulls into the parking garage, pulls into like kind of the parking lot, gets out, and sees the light in his brother's room still on, or is on. So he, opens the door, goes inside, and his parents are like, how's it going? And Kevin's like, oh, pretty good. I'm just back. And they're like, you're back early, because Kevin's like, I'm going to be gone for a while. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Wasn't feeling it tonight. And they're like, all right, well, just let us know if you want to do anything, or we're going to be going to bed soon if you need anything, son. And he's like, no, I'm pretty good. So Kevin goes upstairs, goes into his room, throws his like wallet and keys or whatever into his room, and then goes over to Mike's room and knocks on the door. And Mike opens it. He's like, yo, what's up? And Kevin's like, so, hey, there's just this funny thing I wanted to tell you about. And Mike looks like visibly nervous. And that made Kevin feel weird. He's like, why is my brother geeking out right now? That makes absolutely no sense. This is weird. This is making me uncomfortable, but whatever. He's geeking out for some reason, but fine. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's just worried about stuff. So he goes in, and he's like, dude, Mike, you're not going to believe this. Ben came up to me, and he says that all of these people have claimed to see you and my girlfriend making out, right? And that there's a video going around. And Kevin's like, yeah, it's the craziest thing ever. I thought it was pretty funny, and I'd tell you about it. And Kevin just looks at Mike's face, and Mike is not making eye contact with him. And that's immediately when Kevin knew that something was messed up, that something was wrong. Because his brother was not making eye contact. I mean, I don't make eye contact with people all the time, right? But his brother was avoiding eye contact. He was minimal response. And then Kevin is kind of like, oh, that's just a story, right? That's just like a little funny rumor going around. And Mike looks up. And when they make eye contact, Kevin knows for a fact it is not a rumor, it is not a joke, and it was legit. And Kevin doesn't say anything. Because he's just like, oh my. Like, there's no way. And Mike's like, bro, like, I didn't want you to find out like this. Like, I know that, like, you and Sarah broke up 2 months ago, and it's still tough. And, like, even if you have been broken up for years, I should have never done anything with her. Look, I broke the bro code, even though you guys aren't dating anymore, and it's been a little while. I shouldn't have done anything. That's on me. I don't know how to make it up to you. And Kevin's like, wait, broke up? Mike's like, yeah, you and Sarah broke up 2 months ago. And Mike's like, oh, says who? And Mike's like, says Sarah. Oh, says Sarah. And Kevin and Mike just look at each other. And Kevin's like, so you did make out with Sarah at the party? Mike's like, I did, but even though it was still wrong, I thought that you guys had broken up. Even though that would still be messed up, bro. Like, I'm sorry. I was not thinking straight, She came on to me. She was very not aggressive, but she was insistent, right? And I thought that like, oh, well, you guys have broken up, so it doesn't matter, but it still matters. And Kevin's like, bro, we've not broken up. She's not broken up with me. I've not broken up with her. And Mike's like, she's told me for 2 months. She told me 2 months ago you guys broke up. And she reminded me today that you guys have been completely broken up and are pretty separate. Kevin's like, what? And Kevin texts his friend Ben. And he's like, hey, Ben, I just talked to my brother. It was true. Does anyone else think that Sarah and I have broken up? So Ben calls him. He's like, dude, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I don't even want to hear about it. I just want to know answers. And Kevin's like, Ben, I need you to ask around if people think Sarah and I have broken up or not. So Ben is like, all right. Gets back to him 15 minutes later. He's like, dude, every single person I've talked to hasn't heard a single thing about this quote-unquote breakup. Dude, you guys broke up? Is that why she was kissing your brother? And Kevin's like, no, we have not broken up yet. But she told my brother that, she did. And, Kevin looks at Mike. He's like, dude, I don't know if I can trust you on that. Did she really say that? Or are you just saying that to save face? And Mike's like, dude, it was messed up no matter what I did. But I would never do it if I thought you were still in a relationship. It was messed up in general because you were in a relationship before. And I'm sure that's breaking bro code. And I'm sorry. And we'll always have a bit of tension over that. But I did not do it because, I would never do it if I thought you were in a relationship and that I thought that I could harm that relationship. You got to believe me on this. And Kevin just looks at Mike and he's like, bro, I do. If I find out you're lying here, it's done. And Mike's like, that's totally fair, man. That's totally fair. Kevin's like, damn. And Kevin just is like, all right, I need some time in my room. Mike's like, all right, just let me know. So Kevin goes back to his room, just sits in his chair, and just is thinking right now. Because right now, right, yes, his girlfriend of 4 years just, decided to make out with his brother. And she was the one that was pushing it, and she was the one who told him, and only him, that they broke up 2 years ago. And then immediately Kevin's like, oh no, there's a video apparently? So he calls up Ben again, and it's like 1 in. Ben's like, yo, what's up? He's like, hey, do you know anything else about that video? And Ben's like, yeah, bad news. Like, apparently, like, that girl, Stacy. And Kevin's like, yeah, Sarah's annoying friend. Yeah. He's like, dude, she filmed the whole thing. She was like giggling or whatever. She put it on Snapchat. Dude, that thing was screen recorded so many times. It's sent around everywhere. Like, bro, it's bad. Kevin's like, there's no way. Like, there's no way, dude. Like, why me? What did I do? Why? Right? So immediately, Kevin's like, all right, well, let me just text Sarah. Let me just get her side on this because I don't know what side she could have had. But yeah, let me figure out what her side is. And, Kevin goes on Snapchat to go see, like, is she on? Was she on, like, a minute ago or something? And he sees on one of these girls' private stories that he happens to be, like, kind of friends with in his class. He clicks in. It was the video. That video was spreading like crazy. It was ridiculous. And, Kevin watched it, like, 20 times. And it was heartbreaking every single time. It didn't get easier. In fact, every time it probably got worse because the first few times it felt like, oh, well, this isn't a real thing. But no, it was 100% real. And Kevin's just sat there and, like, put down his phone for a second. It's like, do I even really want to know why? Like, do I even want to, like, should I just, like, send a text saying, yo, we're done and just never talk to her again? Or do I want to, like, put myself through figuring out why? And then breaking up with her because this is ridiculous. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment Kevin down below. I don't normally use the names from the stories as the secret word, but today we are, so comment Kevin if you made it this far into the video. And if you want to support the channel and help the channel out, all you got to do is at some point, maybe after this video, or maybe later when you're playing a video game, drawing some artwork, or maybe when you're about to go to sleep and you need help going to sleep, sit down and watch a bunch of these videos, maybe 2 of these videos, 3, 4, 5, however many videos in a row. And make sure to go down and comment down below what you do while you watch these videos, and also how many videos have you watched today. I really want to know. I'll heart a bunch of comments. I'll reply to a bunch saying thank you, and just a big thank you to everyone for supporting the channel recently. I got a bit of an upgrade in the gear I'm using. I got a better phone. I make my videos on my phone. Mic's a little bit better. I think we're doing 1080p for most of my videos instead of 720. The gameplay isn't looped anymore. We're getting somewhere. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Things only continue to get crazier, so make sure to stick around. So anyways, Kevin calls up Ben, and it's like 1:30 in the morning, and Ben's like, yo, what's up? And Kevin's like, hey, like, is your party kind of done? He's like, yeah, everyone's gone. I'm just cleaning up. Kevin's like, can I come over? And Ben's like, dude, like, the party's done. He's like, no, just like you and me talking. And Ben's like, oh, yeah, no, of course, come over, man. So anyways, Kevin, walks downstairs, and his dad's, like, getting a glass of water. He's like, you're going out now? And Kevin's like, yeah, I got some stuff I got to deal with. Don't worry, I'll be back, not doing anything bad. And Kevin's dad's like, all right, I trust you. Good grades, you're a good kid, like, whatever. Kevin gets in his car, drives over to Ben's house, walks into Ben, like, the front door, is greeted by Ben. There's a bunch of, like, trash everywhere, red Solo cups broken all over the place, whatever, a bunch of garbage, whatever, right? He's cleaning up. And Kevin's like, all right, well, I need some advice. We got to talk about this. So Kevin fills in Ben the part of the story that Ben doesn't already know. And, Ben is like, dude, that's messed up. And Kevin's like, I don't know why that happened. I don't know why, out of the blue, instead of breaking up with me first, she decides to convince my brother that we broke up and then seduce him, right? And then she must have known that her friend was taking a video. In fact, I don't think her friend would have taken a video and posted it without her explicit, not just consent, but, her telling her to do so. Kevin's like, this is the mastermind work of Sarah, bro. I've been telling you for a while that she's been getting meaner and meaner and meaner. And bro, this is like the amalgamation of all that meanness and cruelness. And why? Why? What did I do? Look, I'm not the perfect boyfriend. We get in a fight sometimes, but I'm fine. I don't do anything. I've never cheated on her. I don't even have that many friendships with girls anymore because I didn't want her to think of anything like that. And Ben's like, dude, this is like a shock to me as well. And Ben's like, bro, look, I know it's going to be easier for you to just say we're done and move on with it. But I know for a fact that long term, you're always going to wonder. You're going to want to know why, and it's going to suck now. But trust me, future you will be happy that you did it. You need to ask her why. So all of a sudden, Kevin's like, all right, fine. Yeah, okay. You're right. I'm going to call her. So Kevin calls Sarah's phone. Once again, no response. Ben's like, dude, she's probably not up. It's 1 a.m. But, you probably have to, confront her tomorrow. So, Kevin goes back home and, he gets into his bed and he just can't really fall asleep for an hour. He's just sitting there thinking about literally everything, replaying everything that has ever happened with him and Sarah. And also towards the end of it, starting to feel like, remembering the good moments, man. Remembering not just all the moments where, her personality slowly devolved into what it is now, or all the fights and disagreements, or all the times that he didn't feel like, this was a relationship he wanted to be in. Instead, he was thinking about the very end of 8th grade, where the two of them, after being friends for a while, decided to take it the next step, decided to kind of be the power couple of the grade, and started freshman year, with a bang. That summer before freshman year was one of the greatest summers of his life. It was the first time really having a real-time girlfriend, having someone else in his life to lean off of, to grow, to be a bigger, different, better person. And, he remembers, there was an ice cream place that they used to always go to. And they didn't really go to it last summer, and they went to it less the summer before, and slightly more, but still less than the first summer 3 summers ago. So every summer they go to the place less and less. And when he woke up the next day, he texted Sarah, meet me at the ice cream spot. The place that they used to go to all the time, right? The place he used to go to all the time when they were first dating, right? And Sarah responds to him, she responds, I'm not doing anything a cheater says. And Kevin's like, what? Me? So anyways, he responds back. He said, that's hilarious. That's really rich coming from you. And Sarah says, that video of me and your brother making out is going everywhere. Everyone's going to see it. Everyone's going to see you humiliated by your own brother, right? Your girlfriend, the power couple, right? You know what? Yeah, you weren't good enough, and I went for your brother. And Kevin literally responds why? And Sarah's like, just to make things even. Don't think I don't know about Claire. Kevin's like, what? He literally responds, what? He's like, Claire confided in me 2 months ago that you and her have had a secret fling for the last 2 years. I knew that something was up for a while, but when I heard that, I knew that I needed to get my revenge, and I got it. And Kevin is like, Claire? What? So Claire was a friend of Sarah's, right? They were kind of friends, right? And Kevin really only had one interaction with her. When she was hanging out with Sarah, they had a nice little conversation or whatever. So Kevin is like, what? So Kevin actually still has one kind of female friend, because he had to cut off most of them when he's with Sarah, because, he didn't want her to be jealous or anything. So he hits up that friend, and we're going to call her Kate. And, he hits up Kate. He's like, dude, I'm in a crazy situation. Can you call? So he calls her up. He explains everything. And the thing is, Kate is actually somewhat friends with Claire, or at least knows people who are good friends with Claire. And so he's like, hey, I don't know, trust me, I did not cheat on my girlfriend with Claire. I've spoken to her once. This is ridiculous. So Kate's like, yeah, sure, I can get back to you in a little bit. So 2 hours later, Kate texts with all caps, pick up the phone. So Kevin's like, shoot, okay. There's 4 missed calls. He calls her back. Kate explains that, Kate went to one of her good friends who happened to be friends with Kate. And that friend that is friends with Kate confronted Kate on this and Kate kind of confessed to everything. Kate had two motives for lying to Sarah. Because yes, no, Kevin and Kate had never had a fling at all. But Kate had two motives to lie to Sarah. The first motive is that she didn't like, how Sarah's attitude was changing and kind of the position of power she had. And that she thought that, if she toppled their relationship, Sarah and Kevin, that there would be a power vacuum and that she would basically be able to fill it. The second thing is that she didn't want to fill it alone, the high school queen and king, whatever power vacuum. She, in only one conversation, basically fell in love with Sarah's boyfriend, Kevin, and thought that if she could split them up, that she could truly then seduce him, and then she would be the queen of the high school for the rest of the year, as well as have Kevin be her power couple. And Kevin is bro, this is freaking high school. Literally, who cares? But Kate's dude, I'm so sorry. This is ridiculous. And Kevin's all right, well, do you have that can your friend talk to Sarah and be my witness that's true? And Kate's yeah, it might take a little bit of convincing, but I think that can happen. So anyways, right, Monday rolls around. They go back to school. And, they don't have recess anymore, but they have a break period. So Kevin texts Sarah saying, we need to talk. And he said, let's meet up in person. Let's not do this over text. And she says, fine, but on my terms. And Kevin's all right. And Sarah says, we have to discuss everything, and you have to, apologize for cheating. And he said, we'll discuss everything when we get there. He didn't say that he'd apologize for cheating, but he was bringing it. He was anything to get her in person. Kate was able to get her friend that was friends with Claire to go with Kevin and to walk over with them, right? So Kevin, Sarah, and this friend, right? We're going to call her Kate's friend, all sit down. And Sarah's oh, so you already have a new girlfriend? Kevin's no. Kate's friend, do you want to speak? Kate's friend tells Sarah everything. And Kevin watches as Sarah's face turns from smugness to horror, basically, as she realizes that she's been snaked by one of her close friends for a power move. This is 17th century kings, sons of kings trying to fight who gets power, right? This is ridiculous stuff. And Sarah turns to Kevin and is I had no idea. And Kevin's of course you had no idea. You wouldn't have acted on it if you did. And Sarah's well, then, I guess we can all put this behind us. And Kevin's whoa, Lois, this is not my Batman cup. No, he's whoa, hold on now. Chill out. We can put this behind us? I don't know about that. Because while it is proven now that I did not have a thing with Claire, your friend that I spoke to once, there is not only proof, but video evidence that you had a thing with my brother. And you chose my brother because you knew it would hurt more than a random person. It would hurt more than even my closest friend. And Sarah's just kind of looking at him. And Kevin is Sarah, it has been 4 years. It has been a great, terrible, wonderful, horrible experience. It has been everything. He says, Sarah, to you 4 years ago when we first met, I am sorry that we have failed you. He says, Sarah, to you now, I wish you the best in life. Kevin gets up. And Sarah's what do you think you're doing? What do you think we're doing? We still have fall, we still have winter, we still have spring. We only have 2 more semesters. We've gone 4 years, and you're going to end it on this? This is how you're ending it? And Kevin said, I wasn't the one to end anything, Sarah. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't the one to choose to do any of this. Kevin just walks away. The aftermath is Kevin, and Sarah, and they break up. There's a whole ton of bickering going on with Sarah and Claire and a lot of infighting. But Kevin doesn't even pay attention to any of that. He doesn't involve himself, and he doesn't even know what happened because he doesn't care. All Kevin cares about is finishing up, a really good high school football year, applying to colleges. He got into one he wanted to, and having a good time with his friends. And, he had no more relationships or anything like that. And by the end of the year, when they were having their kind of last moments as a class, you know, Sarah went up to him and, and Kevin's like, hello there. They had not spoken really since that day for like months. They had like seen each other and kind of like nodded or something. And, Sarah was like, didn't say sorry, didn't say anything like that. Sarah just went up to him and said, do you remember at the end of 8th grade, when you asked me out? And Kevin's like, yeah, no, I do remember that. And Sarah's like, you remember how, you started choking on something midway through asking me out? Kevin's like, bro, that's embarrassing. Sarah's like, I know, that's why I'm saying it. And you remember that ice cream place we used to go to? And Kevin was like getting really wistful at this point. He's like, yeah, Sarah, that was the best summer I've ever had. Sarah was like, me too. Sorry it went down the way it did. And Kevin's like, I'm sorry it did too. He said, hey, have fun in college. Like, I'm sure you'll have a good time on the East Coast. And Sarah's like, well, have fun down south, I heard it's pretty warm down there, but, stay in touch with me. Kevin and Sarah did not stay in touch, but that's just how things happen when you say stay in touch with me with people. Just a little life lesson. Most of the people in high school at the very last day, you'll say, stay in touch with me. Oh, we're going to be best friends. No, you won't. You'll stay in touch with like 3 or 4 people. Kevin and Sarah are not close friends anymore. They follow each other on Instagram or something at this point. But their lives, which were so close together for a while, they just never cross paths again. I mean, look, this happened like a couple of years ago. They could easily cross paths again, but you understand what I'm saying. And, Kevin, he's in college now. He's got a girlfriend who doesn't care about nonsense and is not going to cheat on him with his brother. Kevin and Mike kind of mended their relationship the summer before Kevin and Mike went off to college. There's always going to be, like, you can't change what happened in the past, but they're doing much better now. And, Kevin submitted the story to me, and he thought it'd be an interesting one to tell.
Click on the video on screen right now. I know
agree.
you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.